Hi guys. So today we are going to be looking at the percentage composition of ions. So calcium ions in calcium phosphate and sulfate ions in aluminum sulfate. Okay. So very simple. First is in the problem number 1, where you're going to determine what percentage is of the calcium ions present in calcium phosphate. And here, first thing you would need to do is to get the molar mass of calcium phosphate, and that is PO4 whole twice. So we see in this case there are 3 moles of calcium. There are 2 moles of phosphorus, and there are 4 times 2, 8 moles of oxygen. So always remember that this number only applies to calcium. This 3 only applies to calcium, 4 applies to oxygen, 2 applies to phosphorus, and 2 applies to oxygen as well. So let me just put it better. So 2 is going to be, when it's outside the parenthesis, it applies to 2, and this applies to oxygen. This applies to, so it spreads out. And then 4 only belongs to oxygen. Okay, so we have this situation where calcium, there are 3, and the weight of calcium is 40.078. And this information you're going to get, let's get this down, sorry. So we have 3 calciums, and each calcium from the periodic table, we see that it is 40.078 grams. Then we multiply, we get the 2 phosphorus, and the phosphorus is 30.973, and then you have 4 2s are 8 oxygens, and those 8 oxygens are 15.999. And so when you add up this whole thing, all of this added is going to give you 310.18. 310.181 grams per mole. Okay, so that is the molar mass of calcium phosphate. Now in this we are going to get the percentage of calcium, or calcium percent, how much of the calcium percent is present. So we see that the percentage of calcium ions is equal to, percentage of calcium ions is equal to, we see there are 3 calcium ions. Okay, each is weighing 40.078 grams divided by the total molar mass, and that is 310.181 times 100%. Okay, so this times 100%. So this is equal to 3 times 40.078 is 120.234 divided by 310.181 times 100%. And this whole thing comes out to be 38.76%. And that's the percentage of calcium ions. Okay, so that +2 is just a charge. All right, next we are going to look at is the, how much is the percentage of sulfate present in aluminum sulfate. Okay, so here we are going to look at the second question, which is looking at the sulfate in aluminum sulfate, the percentage of, so we are going to look at the percentage of sulfate in aluminum, Al2SO4 whole thrice. So here again we are going to look at the molar mass of aluminum sulfate first. Al2SO4 whole thrice. So here you see, once again, this 2 applies only to aluminum. This 3 applies to oxygen. This 3 applies to sulfur. But this 4 only applies to oxygen. So just pay attention to those details, okay? So now we have 2 moles of aluminum, and the aluminum, the weight of this aluminum from the periodic table is 26.982 grams per mole. Sulfur, there are 3 sulfurs, and the weight of sulfur is 32.066. 32.066. And oxygens are 4 oxygens, and this is going to be 3/4 or 12. So 12. So 3 times 4 equals 12 oxygens times, oxygens are 15.999. So when you add all these numbers, after the multiplication, obviously, you are going to get 342.15. 342.15 grams per mole. Okay, so now we take the sulfate ion. So sulfate is what? Sulfate ions is SO4, 2 negatives or -2. Okay, so what does this mean? There's 1 sulfur and there are 4 oxygens. There's 1 sulfur, there were 3 sulfurs, three sulfurs and 12 oxygens. So 3 sulfurs and 12 oxygens, and each sulfur was 32.066 and 12 oxygens was 15.999. Okay, so we are going to get this thing added up, comes out to be same thing. When you add this piece up, this comes out to be 288.186. 288.186 grams per mole. Okay, so next thing is you're going to take the sulfate, the weight of sulfate, divided by the total mass of Al2SO4 whole thrice times 100. Okay, this is grams, this is grams. So we're going to just put it here, 288.186 grams for sulfate, and the weight of aluminum sulfate is 342.15 grams times 100%. And you get here a value of 84.23. This is equal to, so the mass percent or the percentage of sulfate ions is equal to 84.23. 84.23%. Okay, so okay, I hope that was easy, and thank you for watching.